Yo, what is up, my Shadow Armies? It is I, Shadow Critias, back again with another MHA video. So yeah, today, it's finally here. Finally get the chance to do this for past a month now. And I might as well go ahead and do this now while I have the time. This was originally going to come out for Valentine's Day, but it is late, a month late actually, because, well, you guys see when I posted the community tab and announced this, it took a month for the artists to get done, all 6 of them. So here we are, and a long month of waiting for this, and it was worth it. So I had to give a big shout out to hope I say her name right, Alia Lucas. So I have to give a big shout out to her for making these arts possible, and also this video actually happened because of her. So I'll have the link of her Twitter down below in the description box. Go follow her, give her some love and support. And if you guys know, she was the first person that I contacted for commission artwork. If you guys went to my RWBY channel, you guys know my profile and banner is actually myself, if I was in the world of RWBY, shipped with Ruby Rose. That's the first one. So it's the same person who did some artwork for my MHA Kage Tatsuma. So basically, it's more like a discussion of, okay, how this ship and relationship work between Kage and this character. And I've seen a lot of people done this with their OCs shipping with other Class 1A members. And I want to do one for Kage, but more focusing on the girls, because Kage is 100% straight. He's not into guys. So it's going to be focused on the girls. And who knows, I might think of doing some others, like a part 2 of this. And maybe in the future, I can't make any promises, like having other characters like Kendo, Setsuna, Mei Hatsume, Melissa, who else? I know I'm missing something. Those side characters, and might have Kage dating someone that is older than him, or make him as an adult to shit with the adult people. And if you guys did your research about the Japan's law, minors of the ages 16 and 17 are allowed to date someone that is older than them. It's actually stated that if you're 15 or 14 or 13, you're allowed to have your own place and allowed to get a job. So Japan's law is different compared to here in America. So I may or may not think about doing part 2. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. So yeah, I just want to clear some of these out of the way and give the artists a shout out before we go into certain of the characters. So yeah, again, big shout out to her for making this happen, for the art. And so yeah, I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna go over is the main love interest for Kage, and from my story, The Shadow Among Us, Kage X Sue, or Kage Sue, or Kage Sue, whatever. This is the main ship for my character. And this is a reference to um, when they go out to their first dates in the story. So the outfit you see is basically what they wear. And fun fact, the leather jacket idea, I used to wear a leather jacket back when I was in my middle school years. And I always wear that thing because it was so comfy. I just like it, honestly. And and you guys already know that Sue wasn't gonna be the first main one, which I will get to the next one after this. I was gonna have someone else to be the main one, but I decided to go with Sue instead and had the original idea for Cage love interest for the remake version. So the one thing I would say about Cage and Sue dynamic here, Cage is more realistic, has some common sense, and understanding. With Suyu, she's more, being real and being truthful and speak freely of her mind. And what's the phrase that she's a wake up call? She's basically a wake up call to everyone to understand the situation at hand. No, reasonable. She's a reasonable person, and Cage will understand Sue that she's more reasonable, understandable, and they both are the perfect dynamic, even though they're different personalities here and there, but they actually do can understand and relate of certain things and certain scenarios. And yeah, and um I can't think of anything else I can say about this. If you guys read the story, you guys should know, but I don't want to go too in depth to it because, again, go to my Wattpad and go read the story so you can understand. I wish I could have done better, to be honest. So yeah. Now, Cage and Jiro, the original main love interest for Cage, and also will be the love interest for the remake version. Jiro, we all know Jiro is the best girl in my personal opinion, and Cage and Jiro, what do they have in common? Well, they both play instrument because they both play guitar, and I can see this dynamic where Jiro will actually help Cage to be open up to people because Cage is more of a isolated. He's not good with open up to people, and he's more of a loner. And Jiro will notice this. Like, if you remember correctly, that Jiro literally helped Momo to open herself up to everyone because she was shy and nervous. And Jiro helped out with Momo. And I can see Jiro would do the same for Cage, realize that he's isolated and alone and he's not good to be around with people and be open up to people. And I can see them two would be ride or die basically, and they both would have each other's back. And both of them had something in common of certain things. Like they have a passion of certain things. But they want to chose to become a hero. But Cage, he had no choice, but he did have no choice. He was forced, but he chose anyway for not get sent to Tartarus for vigilante or whatever. And Jiro wants to be a rock star, musical like her parents, but she chose to become a pro hero. Cage wanted to become an author, but he couldn't because he was doing vigilante and he was used to it. And that's what he believed he should be to help those who need it, to those the pro heroes couldn't. So basically, now they're in the path of being pro hero, and they need to learn to do balance. They could do both to be a pro and follow their dream, what they actually love of their passion. They could be heroes. Jiro could be a singer, and Cage could be a writer for publishing a novel. So you could do both. So they both will have something in common. And um and Jiro will be she's literally the tomboy if you think about it. And I think that fits Kage because she's like, yeah, he actually do like some women who don't take no bullshit for an answer, and she's like more fitting be around with the guys, that sort of thing. So I think Kage would see that as attractive to Jiro. And there's a lot I could go with this idea for the remake, so I had to keep that in mind. So yeah. So Kage and Momo. For some reason, this was the third option for Kage as a love interest. But for some reason, ever since I created Kage, the first three came to my mind was Sue, Jiro, and Momo. And and that just came with this idea, like a what if scenario, like if Kage never got caught by Azawa and he still do his vigilante thing and find a way to balance himself to hide his identity that he's a vigilante and became friends to certain people from UA, like started to open up, and that person will help will be Momo. The first person will come across will be Momo. And I can see this be like Romeo and Juliet superhero thing, where a hero is in love with a vigilante is in love with a hero, but Momo doesn't know that Kage is a vigilante the whole time. And Momo actually have Kage to be meeting her classmate, her friends, and Kage will be open up to people. And if he told her or anyone about his secret that he's a vigilante, it is not gonna go well. So I can definitely see it's like a what if scenario, like a spin-off story that is not focusing on the main canon, honestly. But I see this more like everyone is in the age of 18 and 19. So basically after all the events that happened, but in a scenario like it never happened, basically. I just don't know why Momo was always the third option in my head at first. And I could see why, honestly, for like this type of scenario, in my opinion. But I just know I just see this as a Romeo and Juliet scenario here. You know, a vigilante and a hero lovers, but Momo doesn't know that Kage is a vigilante. You know, so yeah, I don't know what else I could say. Okay, so next one is Kage and Uraraka. Also, the art image here is a reference from Bleach. Because if you look at the outfit, it's literally the similar and the same of Ichigo and Orihime, like the manga art style color. So you guys know what I'm talking about. So I love how this turned out. Now with Kage and Uraraka, I had this discussion with 212 about this. He thinks there's a slight potential chance that there could be a love interest for Kage and Uraraka. And I see this more like the dynamic between, and I've seen a lot of people done this, and I cannot believe I'm going to say this. This be more like Shadow the Hedgehog and Amy Rose dynamic relationship. And I definitely could see that. And I discussed it with 212 because me and him were rewatching My Hero Academia with a friend of his who first time watching My Hero Academia. When we finished the sports festival, I thought it came to my head where Uraraka is sparring with Bakugo, and Uraraka is injured and badly injured and unable to move. Kage, without hesitation, I could see him just jump out of his seat, flies down, using his shadow wings to glide down and approach Uraraka, like out of worry and desperation, like out of nowhere. Like he did not, even he never noticed that. What did he just do? He just showed, oh damn fucking vehicle, like showed um his other side out of worry. He never showed this side before. And even though Uraraka would be afraid of Kage because he's a former vigilante and he did some really fucked up things, but and I can see Kage will help Uraraka to be more skillful, and he will notice that yeah, fighting is not your thing. You're more of a supporting heroes and supporting people, and you help and save people. That is who you are. You're not a skilled fighter. But that doesn't mean I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself and how to disarm people, and teach you some pressure points, how to take down your enemies quickly. So that's basically what Kage is going to teach Uraraka. I kind of did that in my story, honestly. In the story, it was Uraraka and Kage 1v1, but Kage won, and offer Uraraka to, hey, I could teach you some techniques that could be suited for you to take out enemies quickly. You don't have to fight them, it just aim their pressure point and you actually knock them out. And I can see Uraraka will have some conflict in her, like her heart's felt like she doesn't know who she should love. Like with Deku or Kage, she's so in the middle that she doesn't know who she wants to fall in love with. She's basically will be in a love triangle. No, I did square. What the fuck? Like love triangle. Like she loves Deku, how much she looks up to him, and how much she's being inspired because of him. But with Kage, she sees something in him, like something. She sees him as a mysterious, kind, and calm, and more serious. But he does care. He just doesn't show it as much. But after she gets to know him, yeah, he does care. He just worried that someone would use his emotion or use that against him. That's one thing he's afraid of. So I could say there is a potential there for Kage and Uraraka as well. I think she is my fourth option, honestly, but for story wise, I just don't see it. But there is potential, but I just don't know how to go along with it. So yeah, that's basically how I see it. Okay, next one is Kage and Mina. Okay, I can see this be more heartwarming, and I think Mina would be that type of girl to get what she wants, and trying to get Kage to be more light up and more cheer free and more open up and something like that. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other things around. And again, this be like almost similar to Shadow and Amy dynamic, like I just mentioned with Uraraka. And I could see Mina will actually take a like of Kage, how he is in his personality, and she would be that girl would have Cage to be more, smile a bit. Come on, lighten up. Like, where's your positivity or something like that. Um, hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think something else. Oh crap! I can't even think of anything of that. This dynamic would work between Cage and Mina. I mean, yeah, it will be a good love interest, and she will be the ride and die, and she will make sure that Cage is hers and no one else. She's like that type of girl, like mine. No one can have him. That type of girl. I never could see that, and I think she will be very fucking heartbreak when Cage loses eyesight in the fight in a liberation war, because that literally happened in my story. I think she will be destroyed by this, and he won't be able to see her as they grow up. You know what I mean? So I could definitely see that. I can't think of anything about Mina, and I really can't think of anything else to be honest. So, yep. Okay, last but not least, Cage and Hagakure. This is something that 212 and I actually discussed about this. He says that there is a potential there for Hagakure with Cage. And I ask, how so? And he said, because of their quirk, with Cage shot manipulation and Hagakure invisible. And we're trying to discuss, okay, how would that work? How will Cage be able to see what she looks like? So, some people say that Cage could see in the dark. So I think he could see a bits of glimpse what Hagakure would look like. Honestly, just a bit, but not too many. And I can see Cage will be wondering, do you ever know how to turn off your visibility? Your invisible quirk? Like, do you even know how to do that? That is one thing that concerned me, honestly. And even, I think Cage would be questioning Hagakure, like, her hero costume just only the boots and glove. Like, Ojiro literally say that, like, what's the difference? Like, I can't tell you if you're wearing clothes or not. So I think Cage will question Hagakure, do have a better costume because you're already naked because you only have a glove and boots. How are you wearing a clothes invisible? So that's kind of weirds me. Like, why would you take off your boots and your gloves and your shoes? Like you say, yeah, I'm completely naked. Like, you already been naked by wearing your hero costume, and I can see Gakure would be that type of girl, would be worried, sick of Cage, and whenever Cage goes somewhere, like let's say like a few minutes or an hour or two, he comes back and Hagakure just gets all worried how much she missed him, that sort of thing. I could see that adorable way. And um Hagakure can be a bit serious sometimes. Again, she's also cheerful, carefree, and also can be serious if she needs to. And we kind of did like a little role play. Me and 212 did kind of like a role play of Cage and Hagakure dynamic or something like that. It would have become like a wholesome moment between them two. And we did like kind of this joke here where 212 OC, Jack Hardy, we did like a funny line where Jack said like, Cage, do you have some what is up with you and green hair girls? And Cage would be like, I have no idea. I just wing it. I just don't judge by their hair color. I just date who I date, honestly. So we did that kind of like a role play sort of thing. And I could definitely see this as a potential, but Hagagure would have been the no, I think Mina would be the last option, to be honest, and Hagakure would be behind Mina, honestly. So yeah, I got nothing else to say. Alrighty, now we finish the discussion of Kage and each of the girls of how this dynamic will work between each other. And last night I posed a voting poll to ask you guys which Kage Tatsuma X 1A girls is better. So I'm looking at it right now. 29% of people voted for Kage and Sue. 18% of people voted for Kage and Momo. And 54% of people voted for Kage and Jiro. Now we'll go to the second voting poll that I ask the same question. 90%, it's a tie. 9% of vote for Kage and Mina, and Kage and Uraraka, 9%. And 83% of votes for Kage and Hagakure. Yeah, Kage and Hagakure won the voting with ease, with 83%. I'm completely shocked by that, honestly. Now, to the last and voting poll, it was a neck and neck. It was 50-50, but then more vote came in. So 33% of vote for Kage and Jiro, 67% vote for Kage and Hagakure. So you guys, they said that Kage and Hagakure are the best and better, the better ship for Kage. So Kage and Hagakure won the vote for be the better love interest for each other. I'm genuinely surprised, to be honest, because Hagakure doesn't get this much love and appreciation, and I'm genuinely surprised by this. That wow, because Hagakure was never meant to be like another fan favorite. Honestly, she's just like a side character or something like that, and just damn, did not expect that, honestly. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Links to my other channel, my social media, my Cash App, and my Discord server will be down below. Sketchwise, you know the drill. Again, shout out to Alia Lucas for the artworks, and if it wasn't for her, this video would never make it happen. Links to her Twitter will be down below. Sketchwise. Again, go follow her, give her some love and support. And again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and see you guys later. Yeah, before I try to Critias, I'll see you guys later.